Everybody, we're live.
Hola.
Hola. I hope you can hear us okay. This is already getting too bright. Incredible. Incredible. Oh, I just made it brighter. I will never. Oh, that's so much better. I actually have color in my skin again. Look at how much my eyes are looking so blue. What's up with that?
They're blue.
They're blue. So let's see. Today, I bothered Mark last night on his multiple trips to the restroom in the middle of the night while I'm still up working on video thumbnails. And I said, what are we going to call this? And he was half awake. He just looked at me and went, huh? Anything Mexico. Okay. So, hola, Cindy. Thank you for joining us. So, we're going to stick with that. It's going to be anything Mexico. I guess we could talk about, I don't know, some revelations. I've done some things in recent days that are making me realize a few things about what I like and what I don't like and what I'm willing to tolerate because it's Mexico. And
Yeah.
And then if anyone has questions, I guess we'll go that route.
Of course. Yeah.
So one of the things is I've been just sort of like assessing how I feel about Merida. I would say, and Mark probably agrees, we like Merida. I think it's definitely under consideration, along with a few others that we really liked. And we still have about a little less than a month to go.
3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started looking to see how much does property cost in the neighborhood or whereabouts we are. And for a modest home, you could get them actually restored for less than $150,000. For some of the nicer, more updated ones, a little bit bigger in size, I've seen them for about $300,000. And these are ones that have been fully restored. So they look really nice and they're ready to move in. But then I also started seeing the ones that haven't been restored, or maybe people are still living in them. And it dawned on me, there's a lot of hoarding and a lot of clutter. And why would that be? Well, because there's not a lot of built-in storage. So all your stuff is
got to be there.
It's there.
Yep. And they've been in those houses, a lot of them, for generations upon generations upon generations. And that probably also adds to more clutter. Yeah. Now, there are some properties, I would say a corner property is really ideal. You get a lot of space and I don't know. So there are some of these properties that at one time or another, they might have been used for a business. I found one that might have had something to do with the clothing industry in some way because they had the molded body tops, men and women, just the molded fronts, like you would put a shirt over it if you were going to sell a shirt in a store type thing. And they just had racks of these just left in there. And I saw some houses that just had old furniture just left in there to fall apart or rot or whatever. I saw one piece of property that was full of a room of garbage bags. Don't know what's in those garbage bags. Probably don't want to know what's in those
but they were just left in there. So then that comes back to another thing. People like to leave their garbage laying around. And I don't quite understand it. I don't know if I ever will. I am not slighting Mexico. I am not slighting the people of Mexico. This has not been true everywhere we've gone. But I will say it's true where we are right now.
Oh, yeah.
It is nothing to see unused bags of salsa, chewed up corn cobs, bottle caps, spoons, paper of all sorts and types.
Shoes.
Shoes, empty bottles, or maybe they aren't empty bottles. This laying in the street, stuck inside people's windows, sitting on the seals, and just left there. Like somebody's walking by and here's their garbage and we're just going to leave it. It happens a lot here in Merida. I will disagree that the reason Merida is called the White City is because it's clean. No.
It's definitely not San Luis Potosí as far as cleanliness. That's
so.
No.
Just saying. Is that a deal breaker? Not at all. Not at all. Because there are so many nice things about Merida that we really do like so far. But it all kind of, this is how my head works. It's like a tornado. I'm thinking, I really like this neighborhood. How much is property? Oh, these properties look really nice. How much are these other properties? Ooh, these other properties are really full of a lot of trash. Ooh, there's a lot of trash on the streets. Ooh, people leave their trash in the windowsills. It's just the way my head works.
Well, and that's just art of living.
That's
just the way it is.
I just don't know why it's that way. I don't get it. I know if you guys have watched Two Travelers Mexico, you know, Paulette did a thing recently where she did a trash cleanup. She got some people together and I don't know why it is. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, and it happens in the US all the time too. You'll find dumps, but it does boggle my mind. I mean, when we had the rain and the rain backed up over the curbs and it was washing in, it came up and we were picking up corn cobs under the car.
Yep.
I mean, this is just the way it is here. So I don't know. I don't get it. That was my first thing that rolled off my mind at the moment. If you have more, let's say hello to everyone. And we'll get to Mark. Hey, hello, Matthew from Ohio. Awesome. Please tell me where in Ohio. I'm from the Pittsburgh area, so I'm familiar with a lot of parts of Eastern Ohio. And hola, yes to happiness. Thank you for being with us tonight. And Papa with your GoPro. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Wayne. Hola. Thank you for joining us tonight. And Lisa. Hola. Hope you're having a good evening. So.
And Azul.
And Azul. Oh, man, everybody's checking in now. Hola, Azul. And Sedona. Hola. Thank you for joining us tonight. So that was the first thing that came off my mind, which is basically the whole transition between what does it cost to live here property-wise if we buy, and why do these look so nice, and what do they cost, and why do these lesser ones, where is all this garbage coming from, and why is there garbage on the street and washing up under the car?
Because it's just in the street and on the sidewalks.
It's just
That's
the way
just
it is.
The way it is.
Yeah.
You know, we walked a good bit of the southern part of Centro Merida, and gotta say that there's been a couple of times we've made some turns around from one street onto the next and sort of been blown away by, whoa, I mean, there was some trash, you know, so, but, you know, it is what it is. You just gotta either go, I'm either gonna learn to live with this.
Yep.
Or move to San Luis Potosí. I mean,
well, I mean, I'm going to do a video and I'm going to include details about that because it's one of those things where I think people need to see it. They need to know about it. And I'm not going to trash any particular place over it, but it's evident. What's up?
Well, you asked Matt where in Ohio we had lunch with them.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Matt. I'm so sorry. Jeez, oh, man. I'm looking at your picture now. I know. Sorry.
The good news
I forgot.
For the first time in 5 weeks, I'm 100%. So that's like, yes.
Yeah, his illness is done.
Thank you.
That's good.
Because that kicked my butt for literally 5 weeks. It was...
You lost a lot of weight.
I did.
Doesn't happen to me. I get sick for 3 weeks. I lose 10 pounds and I gain it right back in a week.
Well, okay.
As I sit here and eat Hershey Kisses.
I got rid of 20 pounds. You know, just saying.
I know.
I would rather not have lost the weight. I'd rather have been healthy and feeling good. But, you know.
And so the question then, let's talk about that for a minute. Why is it that we were getting sick? I don't think we got food poisoning.
I don't think so.
I think we got an illness, like for real.
It felt like a for real one to me, I can tell you that.
It does seem, and this is a legitimate concern. If you do, this time of the year in particular, when it's warmer, food does tend to perish more quickly. The temperatures just make it logistically easier for it to happen. So maybe that's the whole thing. Because we've been down here, we were fine, and then all of a sudden, summertime, we're getting sick. And that's not, going the wrong way again.
The minus, the down.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. It might be, maybe there was some food poisoning involved.
I don't know.
But
all I know is
I kind of feel like, at least at the very beginning, this was something more viral because we both had sweats and I felt like I had a fever and chills. And then it just hung on for a long time. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And hey, how was that Panthers game?
Well, we're 0-3.
I guess not so good. Not so good.
Not a good year. But
hey,
my Bravos now.
Bravos. And yes, I'm so glad that he's feeling better too, because guess what, guys? He didn't want to do anything. And I can't say that I blame him. But when I only have weekends free and then the weekend comes and he's not feeling good, guess what? We don't do anything.
I mean, we did the zoo. And the zoo was probably the last day that I felt really poorly. And that one, apologies to Lee for all that, but that just was, that was a rough day. So, but it's nice to now finally be back to normal.
Gracias.
I can enjoy a beer for the first time in 6 weeks.
Yay.
Yes.
Thank you for the compliment on my hair, John. I appreciate it. Right now I got a hair trying to go into my mouth. So Leon looks very clean. You know, we haven't been to Leon, but I will also say that San Luis Potosí looked very clean. So I think it just depends. It probably depends on where in the city and the city's overall facilities and resources that they use to keep things clean.
And I think another part of that also probably is, to be honest, the city's mindset on how clean they want to keep the city. I think that has a lot to do with it. We constantly saw people in San Luis Potosí that were out sweeping the driveways and the sidewalks and everything else. And scrubbing them.
Washing the sidewalks.
Yeah. And we haven't seen that as much here. So I think that has an impact as well.
Regional, maybe.
Yeah.
Hola. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let's see. You can watch from home now. You know, he tried that application, that app. What was it called again?
Yes, for those of you sports fans, thank you, Matt. The application is called Stream East, and it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to get started. And I mean, to watch any game, because it wants to keep popping up other screens at the beginning, and you just keep closing them. And eventually it opens a game, and I have been in hog heaven. I'm able to watch just about every game I want to watch. And so thank you, Matt, for that. That has been a great thing to be able to do.
Yeah, he was very appreciative of that, for sure. Mr. Sportsman here.
Gives me an opportunity to watch the NFL, and we'll see how it works for hockey coming up, because that's about to start. And I paid for a year subscription to MLB just to be able, so I could watch all my Braves games. And I gotta say, for 162 games for $120, 75 cents a game, I've got my money's worth. So,
boom.
But.
Oh, you were sick too. Okay, so 10 days, like food poisoning, but you had fever and chills and no energy. Yeah, it must just be a virus that was going around, and he couldn't shake it.
I could not get rid of it to save my stomach was doing the gurgle, 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 and I was just like,
TMI.
Oh.
Yes.
No, I only said
you're in
stomach.
Cancun, so all right, that's good to know.
It's not dengue because we've got a little fountain over here that doesn't work, and it will fill with water. And Gina has been very,
diligent
about the soap in there.
But mosquitoes come from all kinds of places, not just this little fountain.
Oh no!
So
but all we can do is control what we can control.
So yes, Cindy, I did. Okay, so all those COVID tests that the U.S. government stuck in the mail and sent to everybody, I brought them all with us. And, they mass produced those and pushed them out in rapid succession. And I was a lab tech for 25 years, and those tests are very similar to a lot of the quick tests that we would do for flu or strep or pregnancy or whatever, etc. So I noticed that the test kit, when I opened it up to do this testing, it didn't look right. It didn't have enough of the liquid substrate. You're supposed to take your swab, scratch your brain with it, and stick it in this tube of liquid and mix it all up really well. But in that substrate, there wasn't enough in there. And when I went to squeeze to pull the swab out, most of whatever was left in there was barely enough to get through onto the actual testing device. And I tried my best to try to help it along, get it there so that it would actually cross the testing lines. And I'm not absolutely 100% convinced that it was accurate, but as long as the control line came up positive, my assumption is I was negative. The control line was positive. The test did not show that I was positive. But I feel like it was a bad test kit.
I think I can say that having had COVID that one time, there was a difference.
There was a difference, yeah.
I mean, this hung on, and it was more upper GI than it was the COVID. And the COVID just felt like something kicked me in the ass and said, go to bed and do not come out of bed.
You guys know I make my own homemade sourdough English muffins, and I have had a English muffin egg sandwich for breakfast every day for, at least the last 4 years. I actually thought that maybe I had developed an allergy against eggs. So I didn't even eat
God help us.
I didn't even eat eggs for 2 days, and I started to feel better, and then I slowly introduced, okay, let's try an egg, and it was fine. No, it was something else. Don't know what. What is the name of that streaming app for sports again?
Stream East.
Stream East.
As in stream, like a little stream, East.
Let's try to write that out. Is it spelled one word?
Stream East.
One word. There we go.
Yep, that's it.
That's what it's called.
And like I said, it's a pain in the ass at the beginning because it is going to pop up 3 or 4 different screens. And then if you go to theater mode, and then from theater mode, you want to go to full screen, you hit the expand stream, and it opens up another page. And you just keep closing the pages that open. And it takes about 3 or 4 clicks, and you finally get the game you want. So it really is. At first, I was like, all right, Matt must be out of his mind, because I was like, this is a real pain. And then when I started seeing the pattern, I was like, okay. So it takes 3 or 4 clicks, and you get in the game, but it doesn't cost you anything. So am I willing to give up 30 seconds of closing screens to watch the game? Yeah. And it's you know, you get the commercials and everything else, and I'm not exactly sure. I mean, so far down here, I have gotten Tampa commercials, Miami commercials.
Oh, wow.
Boston commercials. So, you know.
Okay, good deal. Let's go back to our comments. So, hey, hola, Chris.
Hola, Chris.
Thank you for joining. Hey, I like that rubber sole picture there. Nice. You know, COVID came back to work recently here. Never know. Oh, well, yeah, it might have been.
I ain't going down that road because I got thoughts on that, but I'm not going to stay them.
Oh, yeah, we're not going down the political agenda.
No, we're make this apolitical.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, and it did not feel good, and it hung on and hung on. It did.
It really did.
Thank you, Cindy. So, everyday English muffin jealous. Yes, I make one every day. And he finally tried one of them not long ago. It was the first time I think he tried one of my English muffins.
Yeah, that was before that whole thing settled in.
It did not cause it.
No, I'm not saying it caused it.
And it was good, right?
It was very good.
See, I make a good English muffin.
Yes, she does.
I don't even want to buy store-bought English muffins. All right, let's see here. Ivermectin, it works great. Oh, yeah, Dave. We did that the first round. We had it, and it was knocked it out in like 5 days.
And like a dumbass, we probably should have tried it this time just to see if it knocked this out.
Maybe, but
it would not have hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something that realistically needs to be in the
Hola, Alfredo.
Lazy Susan of drugs.
Oh, Lord. Thank you for joining us, Alfredo. And yes, we have a Lazy Susan of drugs. It was actually a makeup. It's a rotary makeup holder. You might have seen them maybe on eBay or Amazon. And it's just this big plastic tower. It's about this tall and about this big around the base. And it's a Lazy Susan. And you can adjust the shelving. And that was my makeup holder and product holder thing for a long time. But now it serves as our traveling pharmacy. And it works.
Yep.
All of our stuff's on it. All our meds, vitamins, etc. Band-Aids.
Oh, everything under the sun. The ibuprofens, the whatever.
All the drugs.
Yeah, the drugs.
You have a
like, oh, I know you did. Yep. You told the truth. I just had to work my way through it. So, but thank you very much for that, because
there you go. It goes, once you learn, it's easy money.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
That's right. That's right. So I shared like my random Mexican thoughts. Do you have a random Mexican thought?
A random one?
Well,
I don't really get random. I tend to be more of the.
Okay, he's linear. I'm random.
It's what it is. I mean, we're coming. What's really interesting is we are actually, now that we're almost to October, we're coming up on 10 months, more than 10 months now here in Mexico. And
11 months.
I know. And one of the things is, you never know until you're here.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Is it the harvest moon tonight or something?
You never know until you're here how you're really going to feel. Are you going to be homesick for what you left behind and everything else? And there's that uncertainty, because it is. I mean, it's a total leap of faith. I mean, you have this idea in your head of what it's going to be like, and then you get here, and the idea is somewhat proven to be true, and then somewhat proven to be, oh, wow, this is in this part, more than what I expected, or less, or whatever. But each passing day makes it that much harder to envision moving back to the other side of the border.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
There's still things that are proving problematic. And most of that deals totally around the language. And that's on us to learn, how to adapt. And last night was a perfect case. We decided to go to KFC because we had a hankering. Well, I had a hankering. And after 3 failed attempts to get them to deliver, we decided it's only a 15-minute walk. We're just going to walk over and get it.
Yeah.
And after being there, I know why they couldn't deliver, because they could barely deliver on an in-restaurant order. But, with all the things that were going on, we were actually able to get it all ordered and dealt with and everything else. So, it really comes down to learning to deal with it and accelerating our part as far as learning the Spanish language. So, but the thought of going back, nope. Nope. Not happening.
No.
We don't know where we're going to end up here in Mexico.
No.
But it will be on this side of the border.
It'll be in Mexico.
Yes.
I think we're the happiest we've ever been, honestly.
Well, probably part of that's because I can hear now.
That helps.
Yeah.
Yes, the weather has cooled off. In the evenings, it's like comfortable. And the day can still get warm, but it's not hot. I don't believe so.
That still feels good in the afternoon.
Okay.
Don't get me
The
wrong.
pool.
The pool.
Yeah.
That's still a very welcome respite in the heat of the day. And it's, a nice place to be able to I do my stuff in the morning on the computer and then jump in the pool. You can go read my book on my Kindle.
Yeah. That's his day.
That's my day.
That's his day.
And I have motored through, oh my God. Since we have crossed the border, I think I'm almost at 160 books. So that I have blown through. So
see, Matt and Sandy were here for a visit, and we met up with them and did lunch and
Yep.
walked around a little bit. And he's referring to their recent visit. So yeah, I mean, you feel, I don't know how to describe it. It's like
I do.
Like you just sigh. Like you decompress.
Nope.
No?
Nope. Well, sort of some of that.
Yeah.
You are totally like a duck. And that stress is like water rolling off the back of a duck. And it leaves you. When you get here, honestly, the stress and the anger and everything else that's occurring on that side of the border is left there. And okay.
If you intend and purposefully do not bring it with you.
And I was just going to make the amendment there.
Yeah.
That if you choose to bring it, you are doing yourself a total injustice.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is so easy to just let that go by and turn off the news, turn off all the other stuff. And all of a sudden you're going,
I mean, guys, we haven't watched TV since we got here, except for Super Bowl.
And the Final Four.
I mean, that's it. A couple of sporting things. We have not watched TV. I mean, we got streaming services. I'm actually wondering if I'm even going to keep them. I want to because there's shows I want to watch and I want the option to be able to watch them. But my issue is he doesn't use them and I haven't had time.
Why use one?
So, yeah. But I mean, Disney, Hulu, Netflix, Paramount.
That's the last one.
Blah, blah, blah. I mean, like, he doesn't watch most of it.
And honestly, I could because, Paramount and Peacock and stuff like that, I could be watching the NFL on that. But since we found Stream East, it's sort of like,
Sure.
But are we getting rid of ESPN as far as the Disney Hulu? No, that ain't going away.
Well, we don't watch TV, so we don't watch the news.
Nope.
And it had a huge impact, I think. And don't miss it at all.
Miss what?
Yeah. Yes, Marco, we really do like Mexico. Mexico is becoming our home. And no.
Take away the beginning. Mexico is home.
It is home. Well, but we haven't found the permanent home.
Well, we haven't found.
We're looking.
Yeah.
But we're not leaving.
No.
We love this country way too much.
Where in Mexico? That's still a question. But will it be Mexico? That is not a question.
Yeah, for sure. So you're hitting your 6 months. 1 to 3 months were very hard, kind of nightmares. I think we understand that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that we know intrinsically in the U.S. This is how a lease works. This is how getting your driver's license works. This is how, we know all the nuances because wisdom of age has taught us so many things. And we know that, okay, by doing it this way, this is how things are done and da, da, da. And we're walking into some place that we don't know what's normal.
Right.
And, those are things that we have to do. But each passing day makes it so much easier.
See, so, can't fathom how you're going to feel in the next 6 months. See, so you're already adjusting and you're feeling it. You've got your stride.
Yeah.
I think it only gets better from there. And there's a lot when it first hits you, that culture shock. Honestly, I think that is one of the things that makes people who jump into this, head first and don't really do their work, their research and their due diligence.
Yeah.
That's probably the trigger that really catches them immediately is those first 3 months. What am I thinking? This was not a good idea. I need to get out now before it's too late. And then they're gone. And you never see them again. But once you get past those initial shocking moments.
And there is a sense of isolation because of the language barrier. And that part, you either sink or swim.
Yeah.
And you either just throw yourself in and go, you know what? I got to get over this.
Yeah.
And there have been some times where, especially pre-hearing aid, my Spanish wasn't as strong as it is now. It's still got a long way to go. But, put that on top of the fact that I couldn't understand what anybody was saying to me because A, it was in a foreign language, and B, I couldn't hear half the words anyway.
Right.
And that, you just sort of, and now I feel a lot more confident in, take going to lunch with Matt and Sandy, for instance. I went to a restaurant called here in Merida, which I will give a big thumbs up to.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. It's in a little hotel. And when we walked in there, the very first time, it was packed with the locals. And they were all laughing, having a good time. And we went, we stumbled into someplace very nice. And we went back with Matt and Sandy, and the camarero, comes up and I'm giving him more scenes than he knows what to do with, because
no onions, no peppers,
no crema, and he's laughing at me, and we actually had a good time with that. So, it's learning how to become comfortable and being the fact that you're going to be the outsider.
Hola, Jenny.
You know, no matter what we do, we are going to be the outsider.
Always.
We could be here 20 years.
Yeah.
And we're still going to be
we are
the outsider. And, you know, all we can do is assimilate the best that we can to fit in. And the other part of this actually is learning to laugh with them. And that's not hard to do because they enjoy a good time. They enjoy laughter. They enjoy people who are not going to take themselves seriously and go, you know what? You know, and I looked at the waiter and was, you know, loco gringo, and he just laughed. You know?
He laughed his ass off.
Yeah.
He did.
So,
he did. So, hey, Jenny, how you doing from Pachuca? I hope things are going well for you as well, since you've been here for just a short while. But you speak fluently, so.
And if anybody needs Spanish lessons, get with Jenny.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's no stress, Marco. That is so true.
Only self-imposed.
Self-imposed, and yes, it is like a child again, where you have to relearn. And you're not just relearning how to speak, you're relearning how to behave and how to act and be, you know, so in a socially acceptable way, because the culture is different. And what might have been okay someplace else is not okay here. So, and of course they have nuances, special phrases they use that make absolutely no sense to us, just like we have phrases that mean absolutely no sense to them. And you just have to.
You gotta roll with it.
You gotta roll with it, yeah. So Brenda, thank you. I'm. You know what? Thank you for saying that. And I hope that other people are watching this too, that hearing this and reading these gives people hope.
That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
You know, we're here to share with you and the good times, the bad times, you know, what works, what doesn't, and even what works and what doesn't is us. I mean, that's, you know, you can choose. Do I want to make this work, or am I going to buckle? And, you know, I did a video in San Miguel about, you know, wasn't expecting this. And a lot of that had to do with that sense of isolation. And you literally get to choose. I can continue to feel this way, or I can choose to assimilate and make the best of my situation that's here and avail myself to some of the nicest people that you will ever meet. I mean, I had a conversation the other day with the gentleman who runs the Six across the street. And this was the day after the fiesta. And he was like, wanted to know if we had gone to the fiesta. Now, his English and my Spanish are about on a par with each other. And so between us, we're able to actually have a good conversation. But he's one of the nicest gentlemen, and we've had some good laughs and everything else, because he learned quickly that, you know, he doesn't care if Pepsi's on sale. He's not buying Pepsi. You know,
only Coca.
Solo Coca. You know, no bebo Pepsi. Nada. Nunca. You know. And so now he knows when I walk in there, ¿cuántos botellas tienes? You know, how many bottles you want? You know, because he knows what I'm in there for. So, you know, and he has them in the back cold for me. And I'm like, I only need one cold. You know. So
Cielo just jumped on our car.
And now she's going to go on the roof, and then she's going to jump to the roof.
Yes, she is.
I know exactly what she's going to do.
Oh, okay. Oh, so Easter in San Luis Potosi. You know what? I believe you. But we had spent Easter in San Miguel. Then we went to San Luis Potosi. and it was pretty spectacular in San Miguel as well. I'm not sure where we're going to fit our next stop in San Luis Potosí in there, but it probably won't be until next year. Later.
We're already
making our way back.
We're already booking into August of next year.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we are.
And we still got a ways to go before we're even remotely back in that part of the country. So.
Well, we're making our way back eventually.
Suffice to say, there's a lot of this country we still have yet to see, and a lot of ciudades, and then we lost 2 months out of our schedule.
Yeah. Well, this is a good question. This is a really good question. So thank you for asking this. Would we have done anything different in preparation for making that move? Brought less clothes. We've been here just a hair over 2 months. I haven't even unpacked. I'm living out of basically 3 or 4 shirts and 2 or 3 pairs of pants and underwear. I haven't even unpacked. There was no reason for me to bring all the clothes that I brought. That's become evident. So I would have brought less clothes. Now, there are other things that I brought that I also have not used yet, but I haven't used them yet because I've been working 2 jobs, essentially. But I brought all my art supplies. And if I ever have time that I can actually sit and draw something, I would need those art supplies. But I haven't used them yet, and we've been here almost a year. So, I don't know. Anything else? I mean, I think we would have planned to sell things earlier.
Well, part of that, if we look back at it and go, in a perfect world.
That sounds like the beginning of a movie.
Get that. But
in a
perfect world, we would have allowed ourselves more time. And
we kind of threw it all together and rushed it out of, I think, both grief and desperation for me to get out of that job.
Yeah, I mean, those 2 things right there. And quite honestly, what got us through having to put Bandit down was the fact that we threw ourselves into this whole move and we didn't have time to think. And that was a godsend. I mean, that really made it a lot easier as far as that side. The last week that we were in Asheville, we did way too much in way too short of a period of time.
Yeah.
I mean,
the estate sale,
the cleaning of the house, this, that, everything else. And we compressed it all into a 1-week period. And that was a ton of stress.
So I think really give yourself enough time to clear out the things that nobody wants to buy. Your media, your books, your video games, your CDs, whatever it is. Nobody's going to want to buy any of that stuff. So donate it to a library or sell it to, I don't know.
Donate it to the kids, whatever. Yeah.
Because you're not going to sell that stuff. If you're going to do an estate sale, nobody's going to buy any of it. Nobody's going to buy any big, bulky furniture.
Nope.
Unless it is the most beautiful, most supreme, excellent condition furniture. Nobody's going to want to buy big, bulky furniture. You think they would. I mean, our jewel of our sale didn't go anywhere. And it was supposed to be probably one of the more higher priced income. And the guy who did the estate sale, he's used to doing these. He knows what people buy. he was floored that nobody wanted to buy it. And our guess is because it was big and it was heavy.
I can tell you exactly why. They had a damn soul that looked at those stairs and went,
yeah,
I'm going to carry. I mean,
yeah,
the dresser itself had a 1-inch marble top on it.
yeah.
And
Stuff is heavy. It took two muscular men to carry that stuff into that house.
And there was no way we were going to get that down the stairs, the two of us. Wasn't happening. So, give yourself time. That's probably the one thing when you're getting out of where you're at, give yourself adequate time.
Yep. I agree. But I definitely would say that I overpacked, and my assortment of clothing that I brought with me was far, far more than what I needed. Mr. Simplicity over here. Just saying. I would have made room for something else, like a guitar or something. So Sandy's ears are not good. Did the elevation in San Luis bother you? Bother your hearing, your ears?
Huh? I couldn't hear that.
You couldn't hear anyway. I don't think the elevation did. I think what the elevation did, though, is it did make us shorter of breath in general. Nothing that was life-threatening.
No.
But there are people who do suffer from altitude sickness, and that's not us, but some people do.
Shortness of breath also could have something to do with the 49 friggin' steps we had to take just to get up to the house
in general,
the condo. So,
but I wouldn't say that the elevation. I was surprised because those were the highest elevations I think either one of us had ever been.
Yeah.
And I didn't find it to be troublesome.
Nope.
Yes, Alfredo, he is a Panthers fan.
Well, Alfredo, you know what the good news is for you?
Oh, no.
Is that win or lose, you have our draft pick. So if you guys suck and lose to us, you'll get that great draft pick. If we suck more and you beat us, you have that draft pick as well. So,
oh goodness.
Yes, the kiddies are not playing well right now.
Hola, Lorenzo from Guanajuato. Thank you for joining us tonight. Awesome. I'm glad that you're here. Let's see. The beauty of living and being in Mexico is not being bombarded by the news in the USA. Oh, that is so true. You have a couple appointments in October, and after that, how long have I been promising you guys margaritas? About a year and a half.
Yeah, but we haven't been on the right coast for you, or the West Coast.
Yeah.
Where you tend to be. We haven't gotten to that side yet. So, the best part is we have things to look forward to.
Yeah. So, you know what? We're meeting people all the time. It happens all the time. We've met, Matt and Sandy here, and we met some other couple too, and we think about it. Oh, we just met Lee. Lee was just here just a few days ago, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think he's actually still in the city.
And then he's going to England.
Yeah. And then we got Ray and Cheryl came in, just landed today, and Mark picked them up at the airport. They're in an Airbnb up in Centro. And, Annie, Yvette, and Arlene came and stayed with us for a while. And now Lee's and Romy from My Place Querétaro are talking about a visit.
Our girls.
Yeah. So we meet up with people all the time, and I enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when our girls from, El Pueblito come,
yeah.
Katie bar the door.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry about it. You're not late. We're here. You know how it is. We say we're going to be on for an hour, and then it runs into 2 or 3. And you're an artist and a web developer. That's pretty awesome. I
an artist and a web developer.
I actually had a website of my own for my art for a while, and I had actually gone out and got a business license and everything else and started an actual business. It was selling my services, and I would also teach at the local art museum, art council, and I would do demonstrations and stuff whenever they had, local festival things in the community. And then my day job, which was at this point, I was basically a supervisor in the hospital lab. My day job decided that my education wasn't high enough and I had to go back to school, and I had no choice in the matter, and they weren't going to pay for it. So I basically had to go back to college and get my bachelor's degree. And I did that. But that meant that I had to do all the hard courses because all the gen ed type courses had already been done. So I'm working all day, and then I'd come home and I'd have to study molecular diagnostics, organic chemistry, biochemistry. I mean, it was hard, guys. It was hard. And it's not that I used to be a chemistry tutor, but when I realized at this point in my life, I was now in my 40s, and my brain didn't work the way it did when I was in my 20s. I was one of those people that I could go into a class, just take notes, never do homework, never study, ace the exam. That's how my brain used to work. And I learned in my 40s it didn't work like that anymore. And so not only was I not retaining the information, but I'm also tired. And I would sit on the couch next to him, try to do my homework, and I would fall asleep with the laptop in my lap. My hand would still be on the mouse.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't stay awake. I'd wake up and I'd be on the same paragraph 15 times. It was just horrible. But I got through it. And I graduated and I did well. But my art business suffered. So I pretty much let go of my business license.
But two things came from that.
Yeah.
Number one, we used to always go to the mountains every year for our anniversary. And we say mountains, we mean the Smokies, and we try different places because that's originally where we were going to retire. And in the midst of this, we actually went to Gatlinburg, and she slept all weekend. Yeah. And not in the bed because, oh my God, the bed was so bad. That was a taco bed. We actually were sleeping on the floor. That was an Airbnb nightmare. And then the second thing that came out of it was that's what got her into the IT. So they're sending her back to school, opened up the whole IT part of it. And it was like, thanks for sending me back to school. Now that I spent the money, I'm going to go enjoy what you've made me learn. And I'm going to make more money.
I basically left the hospital supervisor lab job with my fingers in the air pointing at them and said, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to go get a $20,000 a year raise over here.
And she wasn't,
and I left.
And she wasn't firing pistols either.
No.
So
that's how I got into IT. And that's what made all this possible. So keep the art supplies. Yes. You know what? And Matt, these are very expensive art supplies. Like, I'm not even kidding. I have Caran d'Ache pencils, the Prismacolor pencils. I have, what is the name of the one? They start with an L.
Matt.
They're expensive pencils. My pencil sets are professional quality sets that run $300 to $600 a set. These aren't crap pencils, and I was not giving them up, and I wasn't leaving them in a storage locker.
If I have toted them this far, trust me, I will keep on toting them.
Yeah.
And every time I pick up one of them boxes, I go, she's going to use it someday.
I will.
She's going to use it someday.
I will.
I know. That's why I keep picking it up and toting it and finding a corner to stick it in.
I just don't have time right now.
I'm not saying that you don't.
Notice my guitars are not here.
Thank God. That would have just been so much space.
I know.
A lot of it was air.
Love Mark's facial expressions. See, I know, right? Like, and he makes these faces. I just got him back though with my Barney look.
Nip it in the bud.
Nip it in the bud. Art supplies down to watercolors, pen, and ink. I have not touched them yet. It's been over 10 months. And I have those too. I have the ink and the pens. You know what didn't make it? And I almost felt bad about this. Right when COVID hit, I got into making royal icing cookies. And I even have an airbrush painter for the cookies. And I was making some of the coolest cookies in the world, guys. I even made cookies that looked like COVID. I made cookies like, I just made tons of cookies. I was getting the special little cookie cutters, and I was making all the different colors of icing and piping them and making cool designs. I left it in the storage locker. I was like, how often am I going to make cookies? I'm the only one here that's going to eat them. So I don't need them. All those things. You donated and threw shit out.
Oh.
That happened really fast at the end there. If it didn't sell, we weren't even looking in the boxes anymore to see what it was. Dumpster. It just went that fast.
And then there was one box when we were getting close to being done with the dumpster, and something told me to open it. And that was the one we found the banded picture in.
Oh my God.
And so it was sort of one of those, something told me, Mark, you better open this box. And glad I did. But, you know.
Well, we did keep the photos because Mark was in the photo industry. And if I let him talk about it, you'll never hear the end of it about why he thinks photos are important. But some of these photos were also old photos. Some of them were photos that were given to me that belonged to my great grandma and my great great grandma. Some of them are literally turn of the century, like late 1800s, 1900s. So they made it into a box of stuff that I call the genealogy box. And there's a lot of genealogy records that I didn't have time to digitize. I wanted to. I had gone to that was a hobby of mine for, gosh, probably close to 30 years now. So I actually have photocopies of records that I went to courthouses and got photocopies of at the prothonotary's office. I've got estates, wills, births, marriages, deaths, all the records that they keep in the dockets. I have a lot of that stuff.
Well,
and I wanted to digitize them and never got a chance to. So.
And it'll still always be on paper because, folks, paper lasts. Somebody can find a photo 100 years from now.
I did.
Case in point. And it means so much because it's where you come from. And are you going to be able to find that on a digital hard drive?
We're going to go there now.
That's as far as down the road as I'm going to go. I could do an entire video on my beliefs of the printed picture and having it done that way, but that's as far as I'm gonna go.
Yeah, but a lot of my stuff's on Ancestry too, so I scan things in. And the assortment of clothing was far less than you needed. Oh, see, and I overdid it. I thought I trimmed it away. I mean, I downsized, I think 7 times, and I'm realizing now I've got too much. I still have too much. Oh, did you finish with that work contract? 2 more days. I am done on Friday, and I don't know how long it'll be until the next one. So I had to order a computer box from Amazon so I can return this laptop, which basically means when I get another contract, I'm going to be flying back into the States to do whatever I need to do for them, drug testing or whatever.
Picking up a computer,
and
because
picking up a computer.
We know not to try and ship a computer into Mexico.
Yes.
And for those of you who don't know, when we finally do meet up with Tom, it's going to be a long night for Gina.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Why's that?
Tom and I did that one time when we started getting into places we had woken up to at one time or another in various stages of inebriation, and yeah, it's gonna be long.
Okay.
Just saying.
Oh, is it as high where we stayed? It's 7,000 feet. Oh, it's San Luis Potosí. I think it's like one of the highest, isn't it?
It's almost at 9,000 feet.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. And mojitos. Yes, mojitos are good. Oh, hey, yeah, this coffee place the other night, they made a cafe, a cold brew cafe mojito. It was actually very tasty. I was surprised. I'm like, yeah, do it. Let's see. And it was really good. I liked it. Okay, so 2 years, you will never go back to the USA. The medical is better, the people are friendlier. Yes, safer and low stress. I agree with you, Dave. I agree with you.
Now I have to remember.
What's that?
Which Dave this is. We have two.
This is our Dave that's in Ajijic.
I thought he was on BCS. I thought David Palmetto was in Progresso.
This is not David Palmetto.
I know. I thought he was in BCS.
Okay, so there's a big difference interfacing with snowbirds versus people who have left their countries for good. Yeah. Because I think what happens, and I'm not going to paint everyone with the same brush, because you know that.
No,
you
because
can't.
we've met a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of our subscribers who have come down here and we've met no, that's not even right.
No.
All of the subscribers that we have met who have come down here and we've had the pleasure of spending some time with have been fantastic. Every one of them. Yeah. And whether they have moved here or been down here to sort of do some scouting or in Lee's case, get some going to the I&M offices and things like that. Mm-hmm. It's amazing that all of you have welcomed us into your families and hearts and everything else, and that just means so much to the two of us. But also the fact that all of you are so down to earth, and that's just been so enlightening and so enjoyable.
Yeah. I mean, snowbirds, they have to go back home. And, so you have to wonder, are they bringing that stress with them and holding on to it when they got to go back? Like, is it one of those, oh, I'm in Mexico, I can let it go for a while. And then as they get closer to when they have to go back, does it start building back up in them like anxiety? You have to wonder. I don't know.
It's interesting. Both you and I have made trips back.
But they're for brief times.
No.
Yeah.
Where I'm going is yes, they were for, I think your case was a week and mine was 4 days, whatever. It was not stressful. And the only stress that I encountered was
people trying to convince you that you're crazy.
One particular person who at a VFW lodge or wherever the hell we were at, you can't convince me that it's safe to live in Mexico. Good. Because if that's your attitude, we don't want you down here anyway. And I'm not worried about that person watching because they thought I was absolutely batshit crazy anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I think that there is a difference between the types of people, the permanent residents and the snowbird residents. Yes, I do think there is a difference in their temperament, but everybody everybody brings a story, and every person can't be painted with the same brush. And I think that there's people, particularly with Canada, I think they have to go back if they want to keep their medical.
Well,
I think that's a requirement.
I think you're right there. I think the other issue is I said that with all the subscribers we have met.
Yeah.
Trust me, we have met some others. And the others have probably been 70-30. 70% of them have been, great. And the other 30%, we've encountered some people who feel entitled and
Oh yeah, we have.
and seen that, they have no problems interjecting themselves into, events that have much meaning to the participants and the locals. And these are traditions that have gone on for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
And they can just put themselves right in the middle of it as if
with no regard.
It's I need to capture this. This is
This is
if I'm intruding, tough shit.
This is for my entertainment.
Right.
Yeah.
And drives me up a wall.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where probably the most stress I have felt, I wanted to smack one person in San Miguel de Allende for being an idiot. But
epidemiology and medical research. Ooh, you were kind of in my area there a little bit. And you have an MS and PhD. Well, part of a PhD. Good for you, because you know what? I mean, I don't know if you did that back to back right out of school. I found it a whole lot harder to go back and work at the same level.
Well,
20 years later.
Does she have a P, an H, or a D?
She has part. Oh, that's true. It's
I'm just asking which part of it. Yeah.
Web development was a ticket to freedom. Nice. Like IT has been my ticket to freedom, very much so.
No.
Got your GED at 40. Good for you.
Yep.
Because that is still hard to do. It's harder as you get older to do these things. Your brain just doesn't work the same way.
Not just your brain, but that's okay. The whole body starts to just sort of go.
Yep. Oh, well, Dave, I wasn't going to give everybody your deets, but thank you. Let's see here. One of those first bad fires happened in Gatlinburg. Oh yeah, we were in the area when that was happening. We were in the area. Yeah, we weren't that far from it. We were living in Nashville still at the time.
That was
a guide to help support your way. I did not have that. Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yep. It's true.
Yep.
And we're lucky that we had Ernie Baca. I don't know how much more stressful that whole thing would have been.
Oh,
and
my God.
The one thing that sticks out in my mind is the whole fact that we had that one man at the border.
And his wife.
We had that one man at the border who was going to argue with us about our ability to even enter the country. And Ernie had to basically argue in our defense. And I don't know how hard that conversation would have been without Ernie there. We wouldn't have known what to say. So I get it. And yeah, it is stressful.
We've been doing a lot of por favor.
Right. So do you wish you would have narrowed your city search down more? Yes. Do you think it has been worth it bouncing around? I think it's worth it to bounce around to get a taste of different areas. But part of the cities that we added, to be honest, were added for content for the channel. Mm-hmm. Such as Valladolid. Mm-hmm. We knew going to Valladolid that it was not going to make a final list, mostly because of infrastructure and proximity to things that we feel are important, such as an airport and a good hospital, and maybe bigger types of stores for shopping convenience. Valladolid is beautiful.
Oh.
And could I live there? Yes. but it's not really, really close to anything. You're looking at an hour drive.
Even with the train coming.
Yeah.
That's, going to change a lot of the entire Yucatan Peninsula. It really is.
It is.
And it's going to change life because you're going to be able to get from Valladolid to either Merida or Cancun in a very, very short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But no, would we have thought about possibly pairing the list? Yes, but then again, no, because we're booking our Airbnbs and we have yet to come across one that we have axed.
What do you mean?
That we have taken off the list. So,
we did reduce the amount of time in some places.
We did, but we have not axed anything from the list.
We haven't taken anything off.
No.
And in fact, that people will tell us, oh, you need to visit here and here and here. And what ends up happening is we can't squeeze it in. So then we end up having to make maybe a weekend trip or a day trip. And to be fair, you can't judge the livability of a place by a weekend or a day.
It's hard to do it in a month, to be honest. You would think that in a month you would get a strong sense, and sometimes you can, and there's other times that you go, man, we just got here. And
San Luis.
Yeah, well, San Luis,
and it's kind of like why we want to go back, because
El Tejar, and would we go back to El Tejar in the Veracruz area? Probably not, as far as living, but that experience
But we have family there. Familia Mortera.
I know. And so much special happened in that town.
Yeah.
And, suddenly, bing, bang, boom, oh, now they're gone again. And, the look on Miggy's face when we left was just like, oh.
Oh, we were being asked, if you come back here, we'll help you find a place to live. It's hard. You make these connections with people, and they're true, honest, deep connections.
Uh-huh.
And then you have to say goodbye to them. And will you ever see them again? I don't know. Will we?
I don't know.
We don't know. So there's pros and cons to it. The list probably would have been just as long, but I think there are some cities we would have maybe stayed shorter amounts of time in, and maybe evened it out and stayed longer in other places. I don't know.
But you don't know until you're there.
Yeah.
And that's the hard. And again, we have had and encountered so many special experiences down here that if we had paired the list, let's just take El Tejar.
Yeah.
Did we ever really think that Boca was probably going to be on the list? Probably not.
No.
But if we hadn't gone, we wouldn't have had that experience. And that literally was a life-changing experience. Sorry, it was probably life-changing for Juanita too. But it is what it is, and we've drawn something from every place we have gone.
Yep.
And would we want to change that? No. And do we know what's coming around the corner?
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. My heart's hurting right now, girl. You dumped your art supplies, thousands of dollars worth. I understand completely. You are a stronger person than I. I was not able to bring myself to do this. And what I didn't bring with me went into storage.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, let's see. And you had instruments. So I had a drum. I don't know if that's what they're called, but it's one of those big, long Skin covered. I bought it in Jamaica. Boom. I had one of those that went into storage. A 6-string acoustic, a 12-string acoustic, a 6-string and electric guitar, tambourine. I'm forgetting some things. The band went into storage. There you go. Paper burns and paper rots, especially if it is not acid free. Right? We know about acid free. Mark's expressions are hysterical. He is a sourpuss, cranky old man sometimes.
Who are you talking about?
You. Let's see. And what else you got here? Keeper of the family history. Yep. Ditch the rest. Yep. I do it too. I do it on Ancestry, dude. Okay. Hola, Rick. Is Mark feeling okay? Don't say a corona. He got a corona. Here it is.
Oh, hell yes. It's only been 6 weeks.
He hasn't been drinking because he hasn't been feeling well. So,
and I thought of pouring something that was going to fizzy and no. But now I'm back. And thank you for asking.
Oh, well, no, we have not. But, Mark has, we're not going to really go into the detail, but Mark has experience doing business calls with those. And that's just the way it is.
Let's just say
it's just the way they are.
I had customers all over the globe. And I could call any place and go, I'm calling from the United States. And if they didn't quickly switch to English, they quickly put somebody on the phone who could speak English. Didn't matter if I was calling Finland, Czechoslovakia, wherever. Not if you call Quebec. Nope. They only want to speak French.
I mean, you could speak French. You could say, puis-je parler avec quelqu'un parce que
Shit, there's people that say I can't speak English, so dang.
Well, I speak French better than Spanish, which is part of my problem. I'll stand here and I'll say, I want to say here. And instead of saying aquí, I'll let the word ici come out of my mouth instead. And so I get all jumbled up, Instead of saying, what is the word for now?
Ahora.
Let's see. Maintenant. I spoke French for years. And so, I would just tell them, I just get them people from Quebec on the phone and just say, can I please speak to someone who speaks English?
I tried that numerous times. Never did work.
Yes, we agree. We're on the same wavelength. I recently saw and read that, guess who's high on the list of do not travel if you're from Europe?
Duh.
United States ranks pretty high as a place with travel advisory. But
and let's be for real. There are places in this country that we don't need to be. We're not welcome. We're seen as the potential for quick money and things like that. And we don't need to be in those places.
Right.
And so we choose not to go to those places. And the only time that we even come close to those places is when we have to drive across the border, which we only got to do one more time. So, and that's when it's time to take the car north and sell it. And then fly back.
Well, here we go. So in the RV, which I see you're making some progress and getting some movement going on there. And most of your PhD was in your 30s. Well, that's good. It's better than doing it in your 40s when your brain is fried. And the RV thing, I said, I saw that you've been making your way. Curious to know how difficult it has been for you to find places to park it, since we're not really familiar with, setting up campsite, things like that.
No.
We don't know anything about that. So
No.
I'm curious what your resources are and how easy that is for you. And you're going to be surprised if the train happens. I feel like it's a land grab and nothing else.
No, we can tell you it's happening. It's happening.
We've actually passed the tracks.
Yep.
My biggest concern about it, and look, they've pulled in archaeologists and everything else to make sure, geologists to make sure things are safe. But the Yucatan is peppered with cenotes, and you're putting this big ass train track on top of all this land that's peppered with cenotes. My question, honestly, is how safe is that? Now, they say they have these alarms built that within milliseconds will tell them if there's anything wonky going on as a safety precaution. And they've got people that know what they're doing, obviously, that have posted these, the foundations for these tracks and everything else. But still, when you got how many freaking cenotes in the Yucatan? Like 6,000? No, 26,000, something crazy. Some crazy number.
Like 4,900.
I mean, there's a lot. So there's a lot of cenotes, and you're putting this big train on top of these things. And what are they made out of? Well, they're made out of collapsed pockets of limestone. So now you're going to put weight on those pockets.
Okay, but in the counter argument of that,
yeah,
is you have cities that are built.
No, it's true.
Okay, I mean, we're sitting here in the Yucatan Peninsula right now in a house. And so obviously there are places they know that they're going to be able to run this. They're not going to have, they have hotels that are built and everything else. So is it going to happen? Yeah, we've seen it. And they're currently running tests right now with the cars themselves, and they're doing the official announcement or unveiling or whatever on December 13th, but it's going to be January before the public is going to be allowed to get onto the train. So that means that we're going to jump on board in Campeche, and we're going to spend the day, and we're going to take a ride.
We're going to ride the train for a day.
We're going to ride the train.
Ken, Jenny, thank you for joining us tonight. I saw you said you found a puppy in a box. Poor puppy in a box. Is this your new pet now? Are you taking in the puppy in the box?
Well, fortunately, Jenny found it.
That's right. Same problem with jumbling up languages, French, Italian, Romanian. Yes. See, so you are speaking far more languages than I. I had taken just 1 year of Spanish in high school, but I had taken 6 years of French since I was in 6th grade. And I took on my own some Italian lessons. And the one thing I can say about Italian is it reminded me of a combination of French and Spanish in some ways. And that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a Romance language.
When I'm trying to learn the little bit of Spanish that I know, I keep throwing in French words. It happens inevitably. My mind immediately goes to French. Instead of verdad, I'm saying vraiment. Just stuff just happens like that all the time. Yeah. So, hola,
Laura.
Hola, Laura from Alberta. All right. Get our Canadian friends on board here. How reliable is the internet? I need very reliable, especially when it rains torrentially. Okay, so I will tell you this. I get really good internet right now on Starlink satellite. However, Starlink does not work in a torrential rain. Just about no satellite dish, not even Dish Network and any of those satellite television companies will work in rain that well.
Especially when you get one of those 30-minute storms.
Right.
That, I mean, I use the Starlink more than she does. Because where you see us, that's where I spend my day.
He's out here, so we have it set up out here.
You know, and so the actual transponder from Starlink is right out here, just about 10 feet away from us. But when it rains and gets that torrential rain, I get a pair of fingers stuck up at me going, you ain't going to do nothing until this rain is over. And fortunately,
it's a 2-finger salute.
Yep. And fortunately, we have easy access to the roof.
Yeah.
And so when it does stop raining, I literally just take a microfiber cloth up there, wipe it down, and it's good to go.
So with that being said, in any location it's going to have seasonable rainy season where you have a lot of rain like that, you will not be able to rely on a satellite service. So you're going to need high-speed internet of some other sort. In this neighborhood, we have Total Play. We had a different company in San Miguel de Allende. I would say, and then we had, what company was that in El Tejar?
Oh my God.
We were out in the middle of the freaking country.
Damn.
We were out in the country, not in town. And that was the fastest internet I've ever seen in my life.
Holy
So
crap.
I wish I could tell you what company they had. But here in Merida, in South Central, we have Total Play.
Yep.
And I just did a speed test before I came out here. And it was getting about 180 to 200 megs down. And I think it was 9 or 10 megs up. That's excellent. It really is excellent.
And out here with the Starlink, it's probably 100 and
120, 150 down.
Yeah, and about
3 up.
Yeah.
And it's still good. But
you know,
but for work and reliability, especially with the rain,
you gotta have both.
You don't have to have both.
Well, but you never know what's gonna stay, because I mean, even in El Tejar, there were times that you had to bounce over to Starlink. As good as that internet was, when it goes out, and if you're needing it for work, you need to have a backup.
A lot of people who do work as digital nomads here do have two services, and your choice of what types they are. I mean, you're typically going to have at least a choice of 1 or 2 companies to pick from. But the internet here is really good, and the only time it's ever gone out there was one time it was out briefly, and then the other day the power went out for like 15 minutes. It was about 15 minutes.
Well, and that reset the light.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, we got a light here. Never had an issue. 6 months. Internet only blinked twice, no matter how hard the rains were. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be underground cables. It could be cable. It could be cable. But the point is satellite dish. Satellite dish is affected by rain. And I should have known that, because when we were in Asheville, we had Dish Network for our TV service. And anytime, it didn't have to rain. It just had to be cloudy sometimes. And there's moisture in the clouds, and it would block the signal.
Yep.
So I should have known that as far as the internet goes.
But, I mean, to be honest, we have had, the number of times that I have had an interruption in my service out here still is not very, and normally if it was raining that hard, I didn't want to be sitting out here anyway. That's because even as big as this terrace is, and in fact it's only got 3 entrances, or and when the wind blows, it invariably blows the wrong direction, and I'm getting wet. So
he doesn't want to get wet.
No, I melt.
Oh, let's see. Florida has plenty of sinkholes and springs, and they have Amtrak and light rail on the East Coast. Okay. Hasta la bye-bye. Oh, goodness. So let's see. The other day, I don't really I haven't figured out yet how to figure out what events are coming in the area and when. I did find a Merida page that talks about various things, but when I go to look at the page and navigate the page, it basically shows me the same events that happen week by week by week. They always have something on Monday, there's always something on Tuesday, et cetera, and they're always the same things. Like on Fridays, you can go into Plaza Grande and watch a digital mapping show on the outside of the big cathedral. And then on Saturdays, you go to the same exact location and you can watch a Mayan ball game with the whole ceremony and the copal.
And if you're here, it is worth it.
Oh, yeah. No, they're both really cool things to do. And they're free.
And they're free. And the game, we've seen excerpts of it in Valladolid, which we showed in the video and everything else. Here, it's a totally different level.
Oh, yeah, they play.
And it's, when they light the ball on fire, it's like, what?
They play with a ball on fire, guys, for real. No, it's cool. But every day there is something, and it's always the same thing on the same days of the week. So one day at one park they'll have singing, another day they'll have dancing. I've figured that out. Then all of a sudden we decide we're going to go to the zoo, and we drive right down past La Ermita Church, and they're setting up something, and we're like, what's happening here? This looks like, oh, I don't know, a festival or a carnival.
Fiesta de Sabores.
Right? And we find out that it was Carnival right there in our neighborhood for the night. It was called the Night of Carnival. They had a little parade. Mm-hmm. They had, in the neighborhood over there, I forget the name of the neighborhood, but it's really hard for me to pronounce, but it's one barrio over.
Yeah, I'm not going there either because it's got an X at the beginning of it.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But they had a DJ. That's what was going on over there.
I mean,
and then down here at the church, they had a stage.
Karaoke.
With dancers and karaoke. And they had a pet adoption thing going on. And they had a large market with people selling things. Then all along the street between La Ermita and San Sebastian, they had various very small mini food carts where people brought out samples of their restaurant's food for people to try. So a tasting thing. Uh-huh. Then at the end of that street at San Sebastian, they had a concert.
Yep.
All of this was happening on one night.
Yep. And only one night.
It's amazing. Like this stuff and this happens all the time. You'll be sitting here and you'll hear drums. And you're like, why am I hearing drums?
And you never know.
And there's a parade walking by.
You never know when suddenly there's a parade that's going to go by.
For real. And I'm like, and I think I need to research this better. I think these parades are predominantly guilds. I think that's what they call them. Like in New Orleans, you have crews. I think these are guilds. And these guilds are affiliated with their local parish of some kind. They always carry banners. And I don't know. Anyway, it's really cool. And there's always something happening. Constantly.
Uh-huh.
We just never know when it's happening. Or why.
Or
why.
No. And quite honestly, where we're located, the only drawback of this particular house is that we are on the ambulance route to the hospital.
Yeah, we are.
And so at least 3, 4, 5 times a day, you're going to hear, the sirens go by as the ambulances go in the hospital. Is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, so hi, Wendy. Let's see here. You have an album of photos from your dad as his time as a Marine during World War II. I'm almost thinking I should go to a history museum. You know what? That's not really a bad idea. Honestly, I don't think. I think if you could get them scanned so that you keep at least.
I would keep the majority, because once they're gone, and that is your family history. Don't get me up on that soapbox, but that's, if you think about this in 100 years from now, and your future generations find this, and the best thing that you could do for those future generations is to put as much information on those albums as there is as to who he was, when it was, and everything else. Because 100 years from now, they pull that album off of a shelf, they are finding a piece of their ancestry. And that is something. I was in the photo industry for 35 years. And in the event of a fire or a flood, the thing that people wanted the most that they lost were their pictures, because that's who they are. That's where they came from. Those are their ancestors. And having the ability to look back to where you came from gives you a sense of who you are. Now I'm done.
Now you're done.
Now I'm done.
He's done. Is there any household item or appliance you wish you would have brought with you?
Air fryer.
The air fryer. And yet I say this, but it does take up a lot of space.
I know.
For what it is. But we did use that air fryer a lot, and we would have used it here.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I find particularly frustrating, and I don't really quite totally understand it, is the lack of a toaster. And I like to toast my English muffins. And I like when I make a peanut butter banana sandwich or something, I like to have it on toast. I like toast.
Well, and again, that's something we could rectify, but there's not room for a toaster in.
Right. I mean, like, we could go buy a cheap $10 toaster, buy it and leave it at whatever house we're at. So that might happen. But we've run into that a lot where nobody's got a toaster. And if they have a toaster oven, I make do with that. But toaster's been hard. And I'm like, dang, what is up with the toasters, man?
Air fryer or toaster, those would be the two.
I did not. I would have liked to have a set of beaters, but that's okay. I'm not baking anything.
We ain't got no.
I brought my hand crank beaters. See, so if I want to make meringue or whites, peaks, whipped cream, all that, I got this hand beater, which is really, really great. It works well. These are all like silly things. I had a milk steamer / frother. It's about the size of a large coffee mug. I didn't bring that, but I kind of wish I did. But I'm not dying without it. But I really liked that I could make this like really yummy foam and pour it on the top of my coffees, because I'm spoiled that way. I'm living fine without it. A blender. We had just purchased a Ninja pretty much right before we made the final decision to move.
But every house we've been in has had a blender.
But they haven't had a Ninja.
Well, no, but.
And my Ninja was the one that you could put the glass on. You could take the blender, you could put on a glass. It was a food processor. There was a food processor piece, a blender piece, and the glasses. And I used to make smoothies. So I kind of miss that. But look at how many things I just said. And there was no room for all that. I brought too many clothes. We had this argument already.
Don't want an argument.
No, but Mexicans like to celebrate. Oh, Lord, yes, they do. And they don't need a big reason to. And I don't know what these little parades and stuff are. Hey, it's cool.
All right. they have such a attachment to past and family and to church.
Yeah.
And those three things right there, I honestly believe are three of the things that are missing in the U.S. But and that makes all the difference in the world.
Okay.
They're not worried about somebody's feeling upset and somebody's feelings are hurt over this.
You mean they're not butthurt?
Nope. There's that's our history. It is who we are, and we embrace it. And there's a lot of things that occurred down here that were not good. But they embrace it and go, you know what? Never gonna happen again. And let's go.
Good night, Matt.
Night, Sandy.
I'm sorry you guys aren't retired yet. I just heard a cat make a hissy.
Yeah, well.
A hissy. Cats are fighting each other. You brought the air fryer, Instant Pot, and an old NutriBullet. See, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, an air fryer. We did not bring, yes, we did. We did bring an Instant Pot.
No, we didn't.
I thought we did.
No, the Instant Pot's in storage.
Oh, okay, we didn't. Because the Instant Pot was one of those things where it could be a crock pot, it could be something else.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, so it's in storage. But yeah. Yeah. And we cook a lot too. The toaster's one of those things where if I'm really that hard up, I'll just go buy a toaster at a Walmart or Straui. And
we haven't really cooked in the last 5 weeks much because I tend to do most of the cooking, and when the stomach's not feeling it, it's hard to cook.
It is.
And so now that I'm back on plane, we've had some meals now, which before it was sort of like
it's kind of grab and go. Gina's going to make her some ham and cheese sandwiches on King's Hawaiian rolls.
Gina's going to eat what Gina wants to eat, and Mark's not eating a damn thing and going to bed, and that's why the weight fell off. Pretty much.
All right. What bug is biting me now? Stupid bugs.
I don't have any bugs biting me.
Of course not. I taste better.
Yes, there are devices that can do that. The problem with that whole equation is that by the time you spend the money, and they're not cheap, and unless you have a old camcorder, if you have the old camcorder, you should be able to plug it in via patch cords into a computer, and through that actually play them on the screen. And then as they're playing on the screen, there is digital grab software that will take it and digitize it.
I have one of those.
So if you have that old device, then yes, it's a fairly easy way of doing it. If you can find one that works, that's another way of doing it and not spending a boatload of money. If you try and get one of the players themselves that actually do the digital and then convert it over, from analog to digital, they're not cheap. The good news is you can get one of those and you can then in turn use it for everything that you need to get done. And then when you're done, if you sell it for 50, 60% of what you paid for it, you may end up spending the same amount of money that you spent to send it out. The downside is you have to invest the time. So it really comes down to which is more important to you, money or time. And if something were to go wrong and you do it, you really are sort of stuck having to do the, okay, now I got to do it again, versus doing the.
It doesn't work. So apparently.
I
actually have for VHS tapes, I have a VCR and the VHS and the conversion kit. It's one of those things I never got around to doing, but that's not the film format that you're talking about.
Yeah, the high 8s, super 8s. To be honest, I would. Oh God, bear with me. It's been. I mean, literally, I've been out of the industry now 7, 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years.
The company that did a great job in transferring all those was a company that was called Yes DVD. They were out of California, and they really did a very good job of doing that. And there were camera shops that were local that used to be able to rent the Yes DVD machines, and they would have them, and they were able to do it on site. But nowadays, finding a camera store, good luck. And then B, finding somebody who actually knows enough of what they're doing is even harder.
So what, like B&H?
I'm not even sure if B&H would do that because they're more hard goods. Somebody that you may want to look up, maybe somebody like Cardinal Camera. If you happen to be on the East Coast, I think they've got a couple locations in the Philly area. I think there's one in Charlotte, and I think they just opened one someplace further north from Philly. But Kurt and his crew, Kurt Seeley, they are very customer oriented, and that might be a starting spot. If not, going straight to Yes DVD.
I'll type it here. I don't know their exact.
You don't want to switch screens.
I don't have to.
Oh, okay.
I'm putting it in the comments.
Oh, okay.
Cardinal Camera. And
yeah, their home office is in Lansdale, PA.
Okay. Well, hey, Rick, I'm glad you're hanging out a little longer with us. 3:40.
We're in Maui.
Well, geez Louise. Must be nice in Maui.
Well, fortunately, they came out of all that in a good way.
True.
You know, there's a lot of Maui that right now is not good. You know, and I've been to Maui and absolutely love Lahaina, and I'm so sorry to see what happened to that beautiful little town. Actually played a golf tournament down in McKenna, and flew in and out of Lahaina, and got to spend a couple of nights at some bars that I can't remember the name of because they were good. Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we had a good time.
You did have a good time.
We did have a good time.
Oh my. So I think this weekend, it sounds like we might be taking a little mini trip to Progresso. And since I'm not working as of Friday afternoon until I get another contract, that means I have weekdays. So Parque Grande in Centro has a couple of government buildings that supposedly have lovely murals that you can go inside and just look at these murals, and it's free to do so, but you have to be there during weekday business hours. So I get to do that. And that also means that we have some weekdays to do some day trips. So we're thinking about doing a little loop-de-loop tour down to Uxmal. And there is a place called the Choco Story, which is like a chocolate factory. They have a ceremonial chocolate ceremony thing where you watch them do the blessings of the cocoa, and you get to drink this ancient variety of hot chocolate, I believe it is. And there's actually some other, I think we're talking about, I think it's Mani, which is a Pueblo Mágico. So it's like we're thinking about doing this little loop. Probably next week. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, we have some subscribers who are down here, and they're checking out the Merida area, and they were instantly impressed with the airport.
Yep.
And they want to go see what Progresso's like, and
yep.
we want to know how long the drive is going to take us, because that's coming up 3 weeks from Saturday, which is sort of hard to believe that it's almost that time.
Yeah.
Wow. And so that'll give us an idea, as to what the drive's going to entail. And I always like, if I can, to know what the road's going to be like, and So it'll give us a chance to do a dry run up there, check out the house, and see exactly where the house is in relation to everything else. And all that's good, and give us an idea how far away we are from the pier, because we're dealing with our facilitator here in the Merida area, and for extending the tip, we're going to end up having to go to the pier
at the aduana
at the pier, because cruise ships come into that. So there is a SAT office there that deals with immigration. And so we're going to be able to get our tip extended right there at the pier without having to come back into America.
And he said it's going to take about a decade,
if not longer.
That was just shocking to see.
That was.
I mean, I heard Mick Fleetwood had his house, his estate there.
Well, and he had that restaurant with all that memorabilia.
Oh yeah.
You know, and his stage and everything else, and you know, that stuff that's all gone. And again, it's back to the.
Yes, we brought the knives. You know, when you stay in Airbnbs, you never know what you're going to get, and one of the things you never get is a good sharp knife. So yeah.
And I'll tell you this, Lisa, we actually bought our sharpeners.
We brought the sharpeners with us too.
And so when we leave, the knives are sharper than when we got here.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the knives here will bust the budget. I have to admit that this particular Airbnb was really well stocked, and they have a really good set of knives. So we haven't even had to get our knives out.
No.
But the previous ones we stayed in, not one of them had a good knife.
No, they didn't have a knife that could cut a fart.
So yes, knives are pretty important.
And what we have seen also is we have seen people who ride around the neighborhood and actually will sharpen knives.
Yeah.
You know, we have not seen that here in Merida, but we have seen it in other locations where, you know, they're on their little cart, and you know, they've got the little wheel, and they're going to sharpen your knives for you. So if you've got good knives that can hold an edge, then that's, you know, it's hard to go wrong there. But yeah, no, I'm a big proponent of you know, the right knife for the right job. And if you don't have a good knife, all you're doing is putting yourself behind the 8 ball to start from.
I think of what else we brought. I brought a pastry cutter. I use it basically to lift and flip my dough when I'm doing my sourdough, and I'm doing my stretch and folds and stuff. Also brought a very large, basically it's a cutting mat. It's the kind that a seamstress would use. It's got 1-inch measurements, which, darn it, I should have used that earlier to measure the size of that laptop. Anyway, it's got measurements on it. And I actually purchased it to be a cutting board for when I cut my own mats, when I'm framing my art. But I'm really horrible at mat cutting. So I never got used for that. And I discovered one day it makes a great barrier for cleanup. If you do all your baking, your kneading, your dough, your cookie cutting, all that stuff on this mat, your cleanup is pick up the mat, wash off the mat, done. So that came with us. What other kind of kitchen things?
That takes up absolutely zero space.
My coffee bean grinder. I grind my own beans. I like to have fresh beans, so that came with us. I don't know, what else?
Don't look at me.
I mean, like we actually
cook a lot, but I didn't bring a whole lot. I mean,
we have a couple of really good stiff-handled spatulas.
Yes, and also we did bring 2 fry pans that,
the nose stick.
The nose stick that you can just
copper, whatever fry pans. Yeah.
And we are also
and one large
pot. And we mean large. We mean large. It's
about this wide.
It's stupid big.
Wide.
It makes it very easy. Very easy to cook a lot of things in it. So,
like my muffins.
Yep, we found that pot when probably about 2 or 3 years before we decided to move down here. And when we decided to make the move, we went, well, nope, we're buying another one, a fresh one to bring with us. So that's about all we really brought for the kitchen.
Hello, Cielo. Hello. Okay, goodbye.
Yeah. Cielo does not like being held.
She's getting better, though. She's actually, at some point, she'll sit on my lap for very small amounts of time.
So.
All right. I think we probably should wrap it up. We're right about at 2 hours. Want to thank you all for kind of logging in and wasting your time with us. 2 hours of sitting around shooting the breeze.
Yep.
I'm still working on the video for this week. I'm so sorry. I've been trying.
She hadn't had a whole lot of help in, oh, yeah, let's do this and we need to.
Yeah, if you notice, the last couple of videos we didn't have any intro, us talking, none of that biz, because he hasn't been feeling good. So
that was about the last thing I really wanted to do was try and put on a good face, because it was getting hard to put on a good face. So it's good to be back.
Thank you. But we're going to wrap it up. I'm trying really hard to get a video out, at least by the weekend, I hope. I'm working on one specifically about the neighborhood that we're in, because this neighborhood is a fascinating neighborhood. I'll just tell you very, very quickly before we sign off. So it's about Barrio Mágico. So, Pueblo Mágico is a big thing that has boosted tourism throughout Mexico, but it's only eligible for smaller towns. If you're an urban location, you're not eligible. So apparently, I didn't know this, but Mexico City developed their own, and they have had a Barrio Mágico program of their own around Mexico City that highlights I think 20 different barrios or something like that. Well, the national level has gotten onto that, and they had 8 neighborhoods in urban locations that they already had listed. And then Merida's very first offering is the neighborhood that we live in, La Ermita. And so we've been digging up some history on La Ermita, and we have a cute little video we want to put out. And it actually kind of works in conjunction with San Sebastian, which is literally 2 blocks that way.
Yep.
So
and the thing is it's all about tourism. It's having the ability to say that we have this. And by saying we have this, it allows them to do a more aggressive tourism campaign.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that I'll have something like that up for you guys this weekend because it's pretty fascinating.
Yep.
The history here, and it's just so quaint. Yes, thank you, Cindy. Thank you, guys. We're going to sign off. Hope you have a wonderful evening, and we will see you again live in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Say that in Espanol.
Vemos en 2 semanas.
That's right. Hasta la próxima.